Welcome to the Two and a Half Thiccies podcast. We're here today with John McAfee, big name on Twitter.
Thank you for
Uh,
coming in. We really appreciate it.
Well, I mean, this is allegedly John
Yeah,
McAfee.
allegedly.
Allegedly, yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Nobody will ever fucking know, but let's continue.
Yeah, very fair.
I just really want to know where you learned piano, to be honest, because you were really fucking good at piano.
Well, thank you. You know, I can't read. I am the first piano player on the planet. I can't read a single note of music. I hate to admit that I am illiterate in music, but I just tickle the keys. That's all I do. But thank you so much.
You're welcome. I can't play, or I can't read sheet music or anything either, but I play guitar. That's all I can play, though.
Yeah, which means you can only play your own music. Isn't that spectacular? I love that shit.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's
Now,
really neat.
Sir, so we all have a question that's been bugging us since we pulled up your Twitter last night. Why is your profile picture JoJo's Bizarre Adventure?
Well, I mean, if you're going to start dissing,
Oh no, we were just all it was a shock to us when we opened it up.
right? Well, I apologize for that, but I mean,
Oh, don't feel the need to apologize.
I mean, dude, I was alive before JoJo ever entered the mind of an animal's brush, and so I am Joe Star. In every one of Joe's incarnations. So if you want to diss my Avi, you better bring us here because I will whip you to the ground.
We would never. No chance.
All right. I'm just saying.
I have a quick question. I'm currently in a CIS and business major in college. I'm in my third year, and I'm thinking about getting a certification in cybersecurity. Any tips on that, or would you suggest against?
And if you're asking a real question, I can tell. Listen, I'm going to have to give you a real answer.
All right.
I don't believe anymore in formal education. No, I don't believe in certificates. I do not believe in degrees. I have a PhD. I have a doctorate. Well, admittedly, it's an honor, but still,
Yeah.
it's a fucking goddamn certificate. So
I agree with you completely.
what I believe in terms of education is if you have a yearning in your heart to know whatever about flowers, insects, trees, technology, security, pussy, I don't give a shit. then the only way to learn that anymore, and I apologize for having to promote my arch enemy, which is Google, but nevertheless, on the positive side, they have produced a system through which all knowledge virtually is at your fingertips.
That's
So
very true.
rather than going into a class, and if you're in college, it's probably 3 times a week, 4 max, okay,
Yeah.
hour, and you are digesting what is vomited from a brain of a college professor.
Yeah.
So tiny and insignificant compared to the brain that Google can access for you. Why would you bother? I'm sorry. I'm not trying to diss anybody.
No,
I'm trying to
fine.
shine light. Because what happens you're in college, so you know what happens in the class. If you're in the middle of a fucking lecture on, I don't care about mathematics, in your third order partial differential equations.
Yeah.
And the instructor says, now this, and this, but you have a fucking question. Teacher, I would like to expand on this point you made 3 minutes. No, fuck me, don't have no goddamn time. He's got his lecture fucking planned. But if you're on Google, you can stop and say, wow, That's interesting what you just said. Let me Google that.
Yeah.
Use the power. So I'm very sorry. Listen, I have a reasonably formal education, but it has no value to me today. Neither will yours 10 years from now.
Yeah.
What's more important, what is it you want to do with the things that you know? Well, that's important as shit. And then increase what you know accordingly.
Yeah. That's very fair. The only reason I'm really in right now is just a stepping stone where I can actually talk to people outside of college who can maybe offer me positions. Like, I don't think college helps that much at all. I've learned more working in a month than I ever did in a classroom.
Of
Like,
course.
yeah,
If you want a fucking job, focus up a goddamn resume, people. Nobody
yeah,
checks anymore. They don't have the time. They have their smartphones to attend to. So listen,
hmm
you're fucking focus up a resume. Tell them you work for NASA, Lockheed, the U.S. Department of Defense. And here's what you do. If there's an ad for a position, I don't know if they still have such fucking things, but we need a programmer in C++ capable of doing um, whatever. Well,
hmm
fuck, that's what you need to be, because you can be, if you're smart, instantly.
yeah.
This is my advice.
I've always thought that way too. Like, even if I don't know something about a position, I can learn it by just
Yes.
looking it
See,
up.
if you love what you do, you're bound by no laws, by no certificates, by no achievements. You're bound only by the depth and breadth of your imagination. And this is where human beings fucking excel over
That
all the other animals.
that's very profound. Thank you. That answers my question. That it's more about what you know and what you want to succeed at. Like, don't worry about classrooms, don't worry about certifications, just worry about you and your ambitions, pretty much, right?
Because there's nothing else really. I mean, dude, you came into this life, with some screaming, ugly motherfucking thing, without an instruction manual. I mean, your parents tried the best they could to interpret what theirs was, but theirs is all fucked up. Your
Yep.
teachers, school tried, and the police, the church, your neighbors, your friends did the best that they could, but none of them had any fucking instruction manual. You were dumped here with no goddamn information. And you've managed to make it this far on your own.
Yeah.
And you will always be on your own in this world. I do not care if you love a woman or a man, if you have parents, children, brothers, sisters, neighbors, the lover at the fucking library. Well, on that, you're alone. It's you, and the world. And that's all there is. And you know this is true. And if you think that someone is going to sacrifice their own security, comfort, money for you, it will not happen. So you, my friend, are in this reality as an individual, sovereign entity, a human sovereign being that will always be alone. And if you accept that and realize that your salvation rests in how that sovereign individual relates to the world around you, well then you have entered a state of bliss, and
Yeah.
life becomes the most spectacular, awe-inspiring, mysterious adventure imaginable by the human mind.
Yeah, it's hard to get a big picture like that, but when you word it extremely well. It's so easy to get caught up with the day-to-day things that you don't see the big picture, such as you're saying right now. Yeah. Seth, you had some questions, didn't you?
Yeah, I did. I was wanted to get your opinion on Apple. Do you think they're doing the same thing as you by moving their headquarters to China to avoid taxes?
No, I don't. They're moving the headquarters to China because of cheap fucking labor, people. Now,
That makes sense.
listen, you mentioned Apple.
Yeah.
I have a beef with Apple. And
That's fair.
that beef is the following. There are two different approaches to technology, whether it be software or hardware. You fucking name it, automobiles. Approach one, you own nothing. And everything you have invented or created rests on the shoulders of giants who lived before you, which is what I see as the reality. The other is, like the Apple approach, this is my shit, mine, and nobody else's. Therefore, my architecture is not open. The Google /IBM /MS-DOS architecture, the most open fucking architecture on the planet. It belongs to all of us. That's a fucking source code, personally. That is the only way we can survive as individuals. That is where the people own the technology. End of story. If technology is owned and controlled by others, we have only one future. That is as slaves. And if that is comfortable for you and something that you do not mind, then please march lockstep with Apple. If in fact you have any semblance of an individual identity and wish to preserve it, you cannot, in all good conscience, and I'm sorry to say this to all of you, blinded by this closed fucking architecture, but you are lost.
On top of that, I just want to ask, do you think Apple could survive if it was created today on a closed architecture type basis, where we're kind of in a connected world?
Say that one more time.
Do you think Apple could survive and thrive if they started today instead of starting in the 90s where stuff was more earlier on, people didn't know exactly what they wanted, and now Apple would be more of a closed-off system where it'd be more kind of prestigious and just like, I can't think of the word right now, I apologize.
Well, do you think the Titanic would have kept afloat had it been re-architected and built during its crossing from England to America? No, it doesn't happen, people. I'm so sorry.
Yeah. All right. Do you have one or a question, Ford?
Yeah, I have a couple questions actually. So one of the things that, so for me, you know, Cole's going to college for computer programming, that kind of thing. My actual specialization is in Homeland Security and counterterrorism. So my question for you, being the man of the world that you are, how do you feel about the situation going on in Hong Kong? You know, their fight for democracy, their fight for freedom, and do you think that there's any way that it would be able to succeed?
Well, first, success is very difficult to define in terms of clashes between people and the governments. I mean, I would not know how to define that. I mean, let's look at the Russian fucking revolution, which went through God knows how many iterations of extraordinarily strange and brutal leaderships. Listen, I just don't know how to define those things. I do know this, is that people, when oppressed, reach a critical mass because it does not matter how powerful a government or even a police state may be. It can only exist on the fruits of the labor of the populace because it requires money. Where does that money come from? The income tax. Taxing citizens on their own existence. You have to feed your family, your dogs, your horses, your cows. Gotta get water, repair the roof, and an overburdening government takes 25% of everything that you produce.
Mm-hmm.
It's called feudalism. Started in the 10th century, okay, where the king owned everything, including you. And you were required to work for the king 2 fucking months every year. And if the king didn't admire your work, the king simply took 2 months off the fruits of your labor. If you grew potatoes, he took 2 months worth of your potatoes. Whatever. This is what we live under now, people. we have gone back 1,000 years into the past. In 1913, when they first established the income tax, we had nothing prior to 1913, and we were the world's largest and most powerful industrial nation with no fucking income tax. So I don't want to hear people say, oh, if we don't have income tax, how will the government survive? I don't give a shit.
Yeah.
I don't care. Because the government does nothing for us in any case other than take the fruits of our labor and put it in their fucking pockets.
I think we all agree with that.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure we're all fairly anti-government here.
Oh,
So
are you?
don't worry about it. Yeah.
So-
I don't believe, I think they're useless for how much the responsibility they have. They take too much power and then they use it poorly.
Well, I don't know. I mean, hang on. Let's be honest for a second. Let's give the government its fair due. I mean, in certain states like California, for example, and certain cities like San Francisco, the government tends to employ beautiful fucking women in driver's. I'm serious. I'm just serious. I don't know why this is. And if you want a decent date in LA or Sacramento or Los Angeles or San Diego, you had better fucking go into the Department of the Interior or Homeland Security or something else to get your date because they've got all the fucking good-looking women. So, I mean, we must give them that at the very least.
Yeah, I mean, they're not 100% useless, is what you're saying. They've done something.
I'm serious. Only in California, I think.
Yeah,
I mean,
okay.
Yes. You want to date in California, go to the driver. Renew your fucking driver's license. You will be a happy motherfucker. I promise you.
I'll remember that if I visit California. We're pretty far from there.
Yeah, well.
No,
We're
I
more
can't help
east.
you guys.
Yeah.
This is a strictly California issue. Okay.
We're two of us are interior or Midwest, and one's pretty East Coast. So
What's Midwest? Tell me what Midwest means to you
Indiana.
guys. Indiana.
Yep.
Midwest. Indiana. Oh, yeah.
It's considered
Indiana is one of those fringe states that most people are not sure even exist. I'm sorry
Yeah.
to say that. But
I don't believe
No,
it
you're-
exists.
very fair. I'm lived there and I'm still not sure.
yeah, listen, I think I drove through it, but I can't be sure. That's
I think
the issue.
I
everyone
hear
says
that
that.
so often.
Even Kansas, which is the most unnoticeable of all American states. Driving through Kansas, you don't really know until the corn stops, and then you're in Colorado. So it's the same thing.
Yeah, that's very fair.
I kind of wanted to get your opinion on the documentary made about your life, The Dangerous Life of John McAfee on Netflix.
Yeah, Nanette Burstein's masterpiece. Yes, well, it's like that. I've never seen it, so I'm handicapped, but I've heard about it, so let me talk about
Uh, I also kind of wanted to go over your life about like the whole thing with Gregory Fall and stuff like that, and kind of just hear what you have to say
it.
about it.
Let's do it.
All
Let's
right,
have a direct.
I'll let you start.
Oh, you want me to just tell
Yeah,
the story?
just go ahead.
God damn, you guys are tough. All right, so now Gregory Fall. He was not my next door neighbor. He was my neighbor three houses down along the northern beach of San Pedro in Belize, which is the most beautiful beach in the entire fucking world. I talked to Gregory in 5 years of me living in San Pedro, possibly 4 times 5 max. And we said no more than a total of 15 words. It was only, hi, how are you? Hi. That was it. Used to go from his house, up the beach to a restaurant. Um, and at least once a week, and carrying a parrot on his shoulder. And if I was in the front yard, which is rare, I was normally in the back room screwing women, but sometimes I would get out of the house. That was it. That was our fucking relationship. Now I fell into a bad relationship with the Belizean government about a year earlier when I was living in the jungle in Orange Walk. And the government came to me, well, not the government, but a representative of the people in power. Now, Belize is not a real fucking democracy, people. This is a third world country at its worst. And Belize is, in fact, the murder capital of the world. There are more murders per population in Belize than in any country. It's an ugly, very dangerous place. However, they've got an offshore reef along the San Pedro Islands, which is second to fucking none. Beautiful. Anyway, I was living there. When I went to the jungle, which was really stupid, I mean, everyone said, why are you doing that? I was the only white man in a district of 15,000 people, all black, all speaking Creole or Spanish. And I'm the only white man on the New River, the largest, longest navigable river in all of Central America, all of it jungle. You name it, howling monkeys and crocodiles and ocelots and panthers and a lot of fucking fun and beautiful women from the villages. I cannot deny that. Anyway, so I moved to the jungle, built a compound. Well, I'm in a jungle now. I'm not in that tourist protected, that community in San Pedro, because nobody visits ever the interior of Belize. I've got a compound on the river. And so finally, a government rep comes and says, Mr. McAfee, why don't you donate $2 million to the existing political party and for election, and we will in turn give you all kinds of good shit. I mean, including very sexy women. And well, fuck me, I'm living in the goddamn jungle and villages, and I'm the only white man. I'm getting more pussy than God, so that didn't appeal to me. So I just said no. Very stupid fucking statement. 1 week after they came to me and I said, no, I don't think I'll give $2 million. I was raided by the Prime Minister's Special Forces, the GSU, the Gang Suppression Unit, trained by the FBI in Quantico and armed by the U.S. State Department as one of those paramilitary forces that you just don't fuck with. Reporting directly to the Prime Minister. So they raided my property at 6 a.m, shot my dog in front of my eyes, destroyed. my antibiotics laboratory and abused my body sufficiently that I will never sit in that fucking chair again. Arrested me and then finally let me go. That pissed me off. I'll be frank with you. What pissed me off was the shooting of my dog in front of my fucking eyes.
Mm-hmm.
That did not sit well with me. So I donated a bunch of computer systems to the government. Why not? Generous and forgiving. But each of those computers had malware that I had planted on them that turned on the camera and the microphone in every fucking one of those computers. And if you were connected to any kind of goddamn network, would move across the network and plant itself in other computers. So within a month, I was monitoring every fucking thing that happened in the police and government. Not me personally.
Yeah.
I'd hired a little over a dozen young kids to monitor the data for me. Seems smart. One of the people I had hired was a woman named Samantha Vanegas, who I was sleeping with at the time as well. It's stupid. Never hire people you sleep with, gentlemen. But in any case, she also slept with the Minister of National Defense, a guy named John Saldivar. Well, you know how that goes. I mean, pillow talk. Hey, what are you doing, Samantha? I'm working with John McAfee. Really? Doing what? Whoa, we're having so much fun. We're listening to everything that's happening in the government. Well,
Oh, Jesus.
was,
that's so badass, though. I'm sorry, that's so goddamn cool.
Please, people, learn the difference between badass and stupid. Badass is talking to the world immune to its responses. Stupid is getting beaten about the head and shoulders as a result of what you're doing. So
I still won't condemn you. Not for I won't condemn you for that ever.
Nevertheless, now things have gotten to a head. The reason I sent those computers, I donated those computers, is because I was looking for proof those motherfuckers set me up for that raid that killed Caramello, my fucking dog. No, I didn't find that shit, unfortunately. What I did find was that the Minister of National Defense was the largest drug dealer in all of Central America. And the Minister of Immigration, the largest human trafficker in the Western fucking world. The Prime Minister had murdered 41 of his business and other competitors who were in his fucking way. How? Using the gang suppression unit, which reported directly to him. Now, can you imagine President Trump going, listen, I know I've got the Army and the Navy, but I want to hire about 2,000 of the meanest motherfuckers in the world who's going to report to me. And when I go and speak at Congress, these motherfuckers are coming with me. I mean, do you understand? Okay. So, no, it was ugly. So now they know that I know, that they know I know, and I'm in deep shit. And what it culminated in the death of my neighbor the night after 10 of my 17 dogs in San Pedro had been poisoned. I wake up at 1 o'clock in the morning and I'm hearing this terrible, terrible cry, multiple animals, and my security is banging on my door. I go out and my dogs are vomiting their intestines and shitting them with blood.
Fucked up.
I had to shoot 10 of them that night, 2 o'clock in the morning, in the head. One of which was Amy's dog, Mello. Now, Amy, one of my girlfriends, the most alien woman never created. She had no heart. She loved nothing, and she could not. She had been so severely abused as a child that she could not have a human feeling. However, she fell in love with that dog, which I bought her
Mm-hmm.
2 years before. Mellow, beautiful fucking Australian Shepherd.
Yeah.
So he died. Well, that was not good. In any case, I knew when that happened that the shit was coming down the following day at 2 o'clock no. Okay, so the following day, 24 hours later, my neighbor is killed. Shot in the back of the head, gangster fucking style. Now, he's an ex-Marine. It's hardly likely that I was the one who shot him. It's also hardly likely that as that Showtime documentary called Gringo, which you mentioned, claiming that I wrote a $5,000 check to a hitman and gave it to my caretaker to deliver to the hitman. I mean, if anybody in the world believes that a single hitman anywhere will take a personal check to whack somebody, then
5,000 seems low too, right? So just
5,000. I don't know where they got that fucking number from, but
it seems low to take someone's life. Like,
even in Belize, you can't whack anybody for $5,000. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
So in any case, the movie was produced by Jeff Wise, Nanette Burstein, and Allison Adonicio, three of my biggest fucking enemies. Why? Well, Allison Adonicio claiming that I had raped her. Listen, I hate to say this, but if I had the urge to rape anyone, I would choose to rape someone looking like a woman rather than, it's just telling you as it is. I mean, if the concept of rape had ever in my life entered my mind, well, it would probably be raping a woman, not someone who looks like an ugly man. But in any case, that's neither here nor there. Allison Adnicho, Jeff Wise, and Nanette Burstein. Well, Jeff Wise had written 5 stories about me before he came to Belize. Met Allison Adonicio, and even though he is fucking married, started carrying on an affair. Now, so these two, from the time Jeff came to write that story about the antibiotics laboratory that Allison and I were in fact running, they started fucking. Well, got worse from there. So Allison at some point wanted to go back to the States so that she could fuck Jeff nonstop 24 hours a day rather than him having to fly all the way to Belize to get a piece of tail. So we separated under very, very bad circumstances where she wanted money. Now listen, I had already funded that goddamn lab with over $500,000 in instruments. I mean, high-speed centrifuges and ovens that propagated bacteria and God knows what fucking money. She wanted half of the fucking money. I said, listen, we haven't made a dime yet. But anyway, so it came to blows, not physical, of course, but metaphorical. She went back to the States and has been fucking Jeff consistently. With his wife not knowing the fucking goddamn thing. And she and Jeff, because she's pissed because I didn't give her $250,000 from half of the lab gear that I had fucking paid for and she was leaving. That was the start of all of this. I admit I am fucking stupid for even hiring someone like Allison. Even more stupid for not noticing the insanity that surrounded her and Jeff and Nanette. And from those three people stemmed that movie, Gringo, which I truly have not seen. Nor, I don't have the time, but God, I have a real fucking life, people. How could I waste 3 hours of my time watching something about myself which will instruct me in no way, shape, or form? So I didn't do it. Next question.
All right, Ford, your question.
Yeah. So you're planning on running for president in 2020. With the current state of everything happening right now, the impeachment of President Trump, the Democrats refusing to send through the articles of impeachment to Congress or to the Senate, and all that fun stuff. What do you think your chances are coming out of that? You think you've got a good solid chance? Are you a little nervous about it?
I have zero chance, people. Good God, anybody who thinks that John McAfee can be president, fuck me, move out of your mom's basement, people. See the real fucking world, because I am John McAfee. I can't be president. Now, God knows what I can be, but president is not one of them. And so I don't want to be. And it doesn't matter, people, who the fucking president is. Listen, those of you who have lived through more than one presidential election will have noticed something very fucking extraordinary. Not a single hair on your fucking head was wafted by that change of power. Nor could it be, because presidents have any fucking power. Our system is broken, people. It's like a car with a frozen steering wheel. It doesn't care who's driving. Nobody cares who's driving. You can't drive it. You're just sitting in it while it goes. And that's where we are. And so I don't give a fuck who the president is. It's not going to be me, because I wouldn't take the job for $1 trillion. But whoever it is, nothing will change. People, we need to see what's behind the curtain. We need to see that from 1950 and the start of the digital age, there is only one power. And that is the power of information. And those who wield that power are those who know how to access and control that information. And right now, that is the CIA, a standalone world power, far more powerful than the USA or any nation state, because they are everywhere. Everywhere that there is a U.S. embassy is the CIA. It is the State Department, people. And it is way beyond the power of any president. Because presidents do not operate in a vacuum. They operate based on information. Let me give you an example that we all got to fucking watch. The Second Gulf War. The CIA walks into Bush's office and says, whoa, we got a problem. Iraq has nuclear weapons. Now, Mr. President, it's not our job to advise you. But good heavens, what a terrible burden you bear. Well, Bush had no choice. He had to bomb Iraq into oblivion, which is what the CIA wanted. Were there weapons? Nuclear? Fuck no, we all knew it. The whole world knew it. Iraq knew it. Everybody knew it, except the president and Congress, who were briefed by the CIA. This is how the CIA operates, people. They rule the world through the control of information. And they own every single piece of it. This is our problem. Just stop worrying about who is going to be elected, because it doesn't fucking matter. They are puppets to a system that has evolved over the past 70 years and will eventually consume our country if it is not stopped. But it ain't going to be stopped by electing a president or a congressperson or a senator. No. It has to be stopped by us. by our awakening to the truth of where we are and what the fuck is happening. And that changes everything. Always. We have time for one more question, gentlemen.
Okay, I kind of wanted to touch down on the poop hammock thing.
Yes, go ahead.
There's a clip from the Dangerous Life of John McAfee where your exes stated that you used to cut holes in hammocks and poop into their mouths.
Well, listen, first and foremost, what I do with my wife, Mrs. At Mrs. Janice McAfee on Twitter, or with anyone, is nobody's fucking business but mine. And whatever allegations there may be, you're not going to find out, because I will neither confirm or deny them. People, if you have sunk so fucking low that your interests lie in the sexual affairs of others, you need help.
I agree entirely.
All right, well, thank you very much. This has been fun.
Thank you.
Thank you,
sir.
for
Thank
coming
you.
by.
It was great meeting you.
It was great meeting you guys. I enjoyed this as I enjoy all of them. And I liked you guys. I don't know who the fuck you are, but nevertheless, if you do, contact Mrs. Janice McAfee, as you did originally to schedule, and I'd be happy to do this again in a few months. All right?
I would like
yeah.
that, yeah.
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 All right. Thank you.
Thank
All
you.
Thank you for coming on, sir.
Yeah. Thank you.
Good night, gentlemen.
You have a nice night.
All right. Well, we can do an outro.
We'll throw a quick little outro in there.
Yeah.
You can follow us at patreon.com/2.5 Thiccies. You can follow John McAfee on Twitter at John McAfee, I think. And
Official McAfee,
official
actually.
McAfee. Okay, that's his handle. But yeah, thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you guys next week.
As said, thanks for tuning in, guys. Thanks for watching the stream. Yeah. Go follow the podcast on YouTube if you want to hear this wonderful conversation again. Thank you very much.
All right. See you guys.